Hello YouTube, today we are going to be doing our first game review on the channel, and this game is an interesting one as I haven't really played many games similar to it. I have heard it is similar to Rust and DayZ, however I actually have not played either of those, so I can't really compare between those. However, after playing Deadside for over 100 hours, I would say it is very similar to how H1Z1 Just Survive was back in the day before the Battle Royale really took off, if you are old enough to even remember those times. Anyways though, I don't want this video to be very long, so let's jump into it and take a look at the PvPvE open world survival shooter Deadside. So first off, when you first start the game, you need to pick between playing on a PvP server or a PvE server. Me and my two buddies started out on a PvP server and played there for about 2 days or so before deciding to play PvE to learn the game some more. And then after about 3 days of PvE, we went back to PvP, understanding the game a lot more. So that would be my recommendation unless you have played a similar game to Deadside and are confident in your abilities to figure things out while dealing with PvP scenarios. But what is actually the goal in Deadside? The goal within Deadside varies from player to player as there are no concrete goals to work towards in the game. This game is more of a do whatever you want type of game. If your focus is on getting good guns to kill players with, you can do that. If your goal is to build the craziest base you can come up with, you can do that. If your goal is to do loot runs to see the number go up, you can do that. There's many different events within Deadside going on all simultaneously at the same time all over the map, which is great for splitting up large player bases throughout the map. These circles are called missions and range from level 1 through 4, with 4 being the highest. In order to complete these missions, you need to travel to the area and kill a lot of AI there, which will then reward you with some loot boxes of goodies. These are a great way to get gun upgrades and money early on, whereas these icons are case convoys, and these are helicopter crashes, and these are airdrops, which all provide different loot tables of items you will want to get in the late game, such as good optics and keys, which can be used for bunkers and gun crates, which we won't go into too much into this video. Essentially, there's a ton of different stuff that you can do in this game to keep you busy, and honestly, me and my friends have been having a great time playing the game. However, there are some complaints I have about the current version of the game that I would like to touch on in this video. Alright, so the first thing I complained about in this game was on the first day within probably the first 3 hours of playing, and it almost made me quit because it was just so annoying to me, and that was the water and food upkeep. The way you get water in this game is finding drinks or finding wells that spawn throughout cities. However, some cities don't have wells, and not knowing the map very well at the time, I struggled constantly to keep my water at full, and it was just really annoying to me. However, the first day we played, we were playing on official servers, which you spawn with just basically nothing, and after joining a private server, we realized it was much better because not only were there active admins to reduce the cheaters in the server, but many servers spawn you with a pistol instead of just a knife, and they give you some food and water to make it less annoying to constantly have to worry about that. I will say though that playing a private server isn't necessarily required. Once you learn the map, the water issue doesn't really exist anymore because you know if you are near a well or where the nearest one is at least. Another complaint that I have in this game, which is probably my biggest complaint, is with the AI. The AI in this game really isn't too great. Getting shot from AI that you triggered accidentally from like 600 meters away through an entire tree line or through bushes or tall grass can be very annoying, or when you're driving across the map and you have roamers pop up like 5 times just moving between 2 points of interest is also very annoying. Although most of the time they miss their shots, the AI can take you out pretty quickly if you are up close and don't kill them fast enough. But honestly, just getting shot through the trees constantly and not being able to see the guys shooting you is super annoying, and like honestly it just feels bad. So that's probably my biggest complaint with the game. But I mean, once you play it enough, you can kind of figure out ways to kind of cheese the AI a little bit and get in better scenarios to kind of like dodge the line of sight that they can get on you through a bunch of trees and stuff. Really just using buildings or walls is normally the best way because they'll push you, but that's probably my biggest complaint with the game so far. The last issue with the game I have currently isn't really that bad, but I just think it needs to be expanded upon, which is the reputation system in the game. In Deadside, you can go from 0 to 4 reputation with the traders, which allows you to buy like high tier guns, ammo, attachments, etc. However, the only way to level this system up is to sell cigarettes, watches, or scrap metal to the vendors, and I feel like they should make it so that more items sell for rep, and also make it so that the traders can offer like missions or tasks that reward larger chunks of reputation, which I think will just make the game more interesting and lead people to points of interest that they might not have went to before. So that's really my main gripe with the reputation system. It's not like that bad, but I feel like it could just be expanded upon. Alright, now that we've covered all the negatives that I wanted to talk about in the video, let's talk about what is good about the game. First off, there are 2 safe zones in the game where you go to store items or sell items to traders, and it is essentially a player hub where people can't kill each other. And honestly, I really like this because it allows you to converse with others that you might have just fought or meet up with people, etc. I will say though that you shouldn't leave your vehicle unattended in these safe zones without a vehicle lock, or someone will take it. That's just kind of how it goes. Another system that I feel is in a good spot in this game is the weapon system and the weapon repair system. Deadside has a pretty good variety of weapons available to the players, and repairing them and disassembling them is fairly easy in the safe zone with the workbenches. I think they could use 1 to 2 more sniper rifles in the game, but overall don't really have any complaints about the amount of weapons available in the game. The time to kill in this game also seems fairly reasonable to me, although I do think that armor and helmets specifically could use a slight buff. Another large benefit to this game is the number of juicy points of interest that exist. There is the airfield, the bunker, the North Military Base, the harbor, and a couple others that spawn tier 4 missions, which makes them hotspots for good loot in PvP. These points of interest are also spread out across the map, which is great for PvP servers as it spreads out players quite nicely in my experience. Another system that I enjoy is the vehicle system. There are motorcycles and jeeps that you can find that make traversing the map much quicker, at the downside of being heard 500 meters plus away from other players. I will say though that there are boats in the game that also exist. However, in my playtime I think we found like 2 boats or something, so they could definitely use a pretty large buff on the spawn rate. Alright, the last thing I want to touch on before ending the video is base raiding. Base raiding in Deadside is when you take explosives or an axe to someone else's base and raid them either offline or online in order to steal the loot that they have stored within their base. Being raided is part of the game, and although it can be a large setback, it also can spark motivation for revenge, which leads to a very interesting gameplay loop in my opinion. We have done several different raid runs where we go around the server in a jeep and kind of just scout out bases to raid, and then we head to the safe zone or the base to get explosives, and then we go back out and raid multiple bases to see what they have inside. Some have went well, and others, well, not so much. Obviously not like right in front of me.
Imagine I couldn't get out. Oh!
Bruh. Overall, I feel that raiding in Deadside is a very enjoyable experience, and being able to defend your base is pretty cool, although we have only been raided while we weren't online, so I can't speak too much on that. But the best part is, if you don't like base raiding or you don't want to get raided, you can just join a server that doesn't allow base raiding, or you can join a server that has scheduled raids, as those do exist. Overall, the game has been very enjoyable for me and my 2 friends since we started playing. We have been having a great time, and for the most part had very positive interactions with most of the players we have come across, even the ones that we have killed or died to. This game is currently $25 on Steam, although we got it on sale for $15. I think it probably is worth $25 to me now that I've played it. Like I said though, I haven't played Rust, and I know that's kind of sort of a similar playstyle to this game, so maybe that's better value if you haven't tried either game. I'm not really sure. Whether or not it is worth it to you is completely up to you, but hopefully this video helped you out in one way or another about making that decision. If you enjoyed the video, or if it was helpful for you, or really if you just have any feedback about the video, please let me know in the comments, as I have not made a review video before and I'm interested in hearing some feedback. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.